Hey everybody, welcome to the Covert Knits podcast. I'm your host, Abigail Covert. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you are a new viewer, thank you for checking out my podcast all about my knitting adventures. And if you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back. I am coming to you today from sunny, beautiful Omaha, Nebraska. It is Sunday, April 19th. And it is just an absolutely gorgeous day. So you can find me on Instagram as @covert_knits and on Ravelry as just Covert Knits. I have all my notes down here today. I actually made notes, so we'll see how this goes. On the agenda for today, we're going to talk a little bit about what I'm wearing. I have two finished objects, one whip that got worked on this week, a couple of old UFOs, unfinished objects that I would like to kind of recharge and get started on again. So I'm going to show a couple of those to you and we'll go over those. And then finally, I don't have any, I didn't purchase anything this week, so I don't have any stash enhancement, but I do have a few knitting goals for the week, so I thought I'd chat a tiny bit about those. All right, so let's get started. Grab your drink. Mine is my Diet Dr. Pepper, like always. And we'll go ahead. So what I'm wearing. I am wearing the Golden Horizon sweater by Tina Say. She's Tina Say Knits on Instagram. The moment she posted pictures of this before it was even released, I knew I had to knit it. I stalked her Instagram until I found, till the release date, and I scrounged for stash and cast it on almost immediately. So I love this sweater. It is probably my favorite sweater that I've ever knit and one of my most worn. So it is knit, it's a DK weight sweater with fingering weight details. It is knit, the blue is the Knit Picks City Tweed DK in the colorway Coastal, and the gold detail is Hedgehog Fibers Twist Sock in the Pollen colorway. Again, it's a nice, it's got a curved hem. I would stand up and show you, but you can't see it from where I am, and I have pajama pants on. It's got a curved hem, so it kind of goes up a little bit at the sides, but is curved in the front and the back, which I love. It does normally have full-length sleeves. I did mine 3/4 length because I just didn't do any of the lengthening process that she called for in the pattern, and I like where these hit. Usually I shove my sleeves up anyway when I'm working, so that's perfect. So again, one of my all-time favorites. The only other modification I made, besides making it a little bit longer, which I always do, was I did tighten up the neckline. It is supposed to be more of a boat neckline. I did tighten it up a bit. I know that that kind of gathers it here. I'm okay with that. I prefer that than a neckline that I'm constantly pulling. So it does kind of gather. As you can see, I've adjusted it a little bit, but it's not too bad. And honestly, I don't really notice that when I'm wearing it as much as I would a neckline that I was constantly tugging on. So that is what I'm wearing today. It's one of my favorites. You'll probably see it regularly. Okay, so let's move into finished objects. I have two this week. The first one is another hat. Let's be honest, these weeks are dragging, and hat knitting seems to be getting me through. Also, it's using up a huge amount of partial stash, which is just fantastic. So here's this week's what I'm calling Quarantine Hatageddon. That's my fun little nickname for these hats. I think this is hat 6 or 7, not 100% certain, that I've made during this time period. So this is just my usual vanilla hat recipe. The ribbing for about 1 inch. The ribbing I do on size 6s. The body I switch to 7s. And then this is old leftover from a baby blanket I made. It's Cascade 220 Superwash. The colorways are Extra Cream, Celery, and Aporto for the blue at the top. So this one used up all of the brown, the cream, and all of the blue, and I just have just a tiny little ball left of the celery. So I really am using up quite a bit of stash for these projects, which I just love. So let's see here. Again, this one's a little bit slouchier. But I like that. And again, this, if you've watched previous episodes, I've talked about this. More than likely, this will be a gift or charity knitting. I'll keep 1 or 2 of the hats I've knit for myself, but otherwise they will go to other people. So that is finished object number 1. All right, finished object number 2. Kind of along the same lines as the hats, I needed some kind of mindless projects this week, and this fit the bill, so dishcloths. Did a set. I consider a finished object for dishcloths 2 or 3, depending on the yarn, a set, essentially. So I've got 2 here. Just hold up one. So this is the front, I mean, you know, and that's would be the back. Okay, so the pattern I am using for these is the Chinese Waves dishcloth by Margaret Radcliffe. It is a free pattern on Ravelry. I think the link actually takes you to a blog post with the pattern on it, but I've saved that as a photo on my phone, and whenever I want to knit dishcloths, I just pull up the photo, and it's a 4-row repeat. It's very simple to memorize, so I just glance at it every time I start, and then I'm usually pretty good to go. The yarn I am using on these, this is Knit Picks. It's their Dishy, and the colorway is Twilight. So these will go again into the holiday gift box as a gift for someone. I usually every year at least one person in the family will get a set of dishcloths just to replace any that I previously knit them. I do block my dishcloths. I guess more wash them as opposed to block them. I like everything that I give to smell nice. So I use a nice, you know, soak or tuft woolens or eucalyptus, whatever I've got on hand at the time, to give it a nice wash, lay it flat to dry. That way, when I stick it in my plastic bin where all my Christmas gifts are, it'll smell nice. I do that more because 1, it smells nice, and 2, I knit all over the place. I have animals in my house. I just like to clean things before I give them away or put them away for gifting. So these have been washed and laid out to dry. So that is my second finished object for the week. So I will put that aside. All right, moving on to whips. I only have 1 active whip this week. I didn't touch my socks from last week, so I won't show you those because they've had no work on them. I'm hoping that will change, but that did not happen this week. So the only project I have worked on all week, really, besides those 2 small ones, is my Yorkville sweater. So this is a pattern by Mina Philipp, also known as the Knitting Expat. And I'm so excited because I was inspired by my knit group and I managed to get the body off of needles. So there we go. The body is completely done. The neckband is done. I have to pick up for sleeves and knit the 2 sleeves, and then it's done. So I'm super excited. All right, so the details on this one. Oh, I forgot to mention, I do knit my dishcloths on size 7. So there we go. Yorkville. It is knit a size 6 for the body, size 5 for the ribbing. The yarn I'm using for this is Teeny Button Studio, which I think I have a tag here. Let me grab that for you. Teeny Button Studio. And this is her Tweety DK in the Treacle Toffee colorway, which I just love. It is a superwash yarn. So I knit the body. It called to knit it 8.5 inches past the armhole, and then you do the hem, and it is supposed to be a quite cropped sweater. I have clearly knit mine longer than that. Mine's about 16, and then I added an inch of ribbing, so it's about 17 inches before I've washed it, which is what I want. I wanted this to be more of a full-size sweater. I had plenty of yarn to do that, so that's what I did. I just cropped sweaters. I have a few. I do wear them over things, but in my general everyday life, full length sweaters are the better option and fit for me. So I did try this on this morning after I had bound it off, and it does fit the way I want it. It is a tad bit short, but I know with the blocking process for superwash yarns, it'll grow just that little. I mean, we're talking maybe 1/2 inch where I would like it to grow just a little bit. So I'm excited about that, and I can't wait to get the arms started on this and really get going. So this hopefully will be done soon. I love this project. I love the yarn, but I'm ready to have it off my needles. So that is my only true whip for the week. It's what I've been working on lately. So next, let's talk about unfinished objects, otherwise known as UFOs. I have maybe about 6 to 8 currently hidden away. I do tend to be a finisher. I like to finish things. It might take me years to do it, but I really do like to finish things. So I have pulled out 3 of those projects, and I'll just kind of go over them. They're all projects that I would love to kind of recharge, invigorate, and get going again. So the first of those is my Laurelie shawl. Laurelie shawl. I'm not sure exactly how it's pronounced. It is by the designer is Lisa Haynes. And I've got, it's a beautiful, it's got a garter section, which is done. And then it's got this beautiful mosaic knit section, which in this light, there we go. Now you can kind of see the diamond pattern. These colors are, part of the reason this has sat for so long is these colors are a little too close together, and in most lights you can't see the mosaic diamond pattern that you're supposed to see. You can see it here on the camera, there. So I held off on this project for a really long time, thinking maybe I should just rip it out and use the yarn for something else. But I really love this yarn. I really love the project. I would like to get it finished. So you do this mosaic, and then the final section is, in the darker color, is a lace section. So I'm about a third of the way through the mosaic. The yarn I'm using for this is, I'll get it for you. This was a yarn that was brought back to me from Scotland. My parents are travelers, and they are kind enough to bring me yarn from all over the world. So this was the yarn. It's Rennie Hand Knits. It's their unique Shetland 4-ply. And the 2 colors, the blue is Azure, and the green darker is Jade. So I have 4 balls of this, plenty. To get this project finished. I would love to get this done sometime soon. It is my oldest unfinished project. This was started back in 2018, and it is my oldest project currently on the needles. So that is, yeah, even including scrappy projects. So, all right. So that one is housed in my Yarn Snob bag. I think this is a Knitterella bag. I purchased it at my local yarn shop, which is Personal Threads Boutique. We actually have 3 fantastic yarn shops here in Omaha, and that is one of them. So, Yarn Snob, that's my Yarn Snob bag. All right, let me take a quick drink. So that was UFO number 1. Let me make sure. Needle size, it is size 4s for the garter and the lace, size 5 for the mosaic. Okay, so my second unfinished object that I would like to work on, it is living in this super fun project bag, which I just love. This was purchased from an Etsy shop. It's a Simpler Home. I don't think they're still making bags, but I have quite a few of their bags. I just love them. So, okay. So the next project is the Lilli Pilli by Ambah O'Brien. This project has been on my needles at this point for over a year, and I just didn't have the headspace at the time to work on the lace section, but I just love it. I love the colors. I love everything about this wrap, so I need to get back to it. So Lilli Pilli, it's sections of garter striping, and then with these pops of lace in this bright color. It is knit out of Madeline Tosh Merino Light. This actually is in the colors that the sample of that Ambah posted was knit out of. So the colorways are Smokestack for the light, I believe. No, the Smokestack is the darker, sorry. Antler is the lighter, the white. And then Coquette is the pink. So again, I've had this project forever. It's been sitting at this point for so long. I think since I've recently done an Ambah O'Brien wrap pattern that had lace in it, I feel much more comfortable now knitting the lace. I've knit lace lots, but sometimes you just need the right brain space. So I need to get back to this, and I would love to have this wrap. It's just, the yarn is, I love the feel of Twilight. I love the colors, so I really need to get back to this. So let's see here. Here's a better, there's that pink, and then here's the two. There we go. So yeah, that is unfinished object number 2. Hopefully it won't be unfinished for much longer. And the final unfinished object is a baby blanket. It's not for anyone specific. Sometimes I just like to have gifts ready to go. If somebody that I know says, oh, somebody I know is having a baby, do you have anything that I could give to them? I've said it before, I am quite the gift knitter. I enjoy giving away my knits. I do keep some for myself, but especially sweaters, socks, those things I usually knit for myself. But I knit a lot of child-size sweaters, baby blankets, hats, mitts, those kinds of things. I give them away. So this was yarn that was purchased from Michael's. It is an acrylic yarn. It is the Karen Big Cakes. It's this honey glazed color, which isn't really what most people would call a baby color, but I tend to steer away from traditional baby or gender-based colors and kind of do my own thing. So I've got 2 cakes of this, and the pattern is the Chevron Baby Blanket by Allison Van Zandt. I think it is a free pattern. Again, if you go to Ravelry and look up the Chevron Baby Blanket and find the one by Allison Van Zandt, it is the free option takes you to a blog post. I believe she works with, or is maybe the owner of, the Simply Sock Yarn Company, and it's on their blog. So this is what I have so far. It's just a traditional chevron blanket, but I like that it's, I've done a lot of these, but I like that this one is the self-striping, so I don't have to worry about that. It's got a garter edging all the way around. Starts with garter on the edges, and then just the nice chevrons. So this project just gets pulled out. Again, it's pretty mindless. It just gets pulled out when I need to knit for just a minute or two. If I can only have time to get 1 or 2 rows in, I'll pull this out and just work on this. But it has been on the needles for quite some time, and not that I know anybody that's having a baby right now, but it would be nice to not have this hanging out on needles. So I am using a size 7 needles for this. I think that's all of the information I had on that one. So yeah, I really like this. I do really like the colors. It's 100% acrylic. It's washable. I do try to knit everything that I make for children or babies in washable yarn, just for the parents' sanity more than anything. So that's the front. There's the back. Okay, and that bag is just hanging out in a Walt Disney World tote, or Disneyland tote. That was a gift from a friend. Okay, so those are all of my current and hopefully soon to be current again projects. So the last thing I want to chat about a little bit this week is knitting goals. So I have been trying to set some goals for myself, just a little bit. Sometimes setting too many goals, or I set them too far, and that overwhelms me. So I'm trying to keep it to things that I feel like can actually be accomplished in the time that I'm setting them. So this upcoming week, I have 4 goals that I would like to get accomplished in my knitting. We'll see what happens. It should be a pretty busy week in my normal day job. So we'll see how much knitting actually gets done. But these are the things I would like to finish. I would love to finish the Yorkville and get the sleeves on that and get that blocking. I really want that project to be a wearable sweater. And honestly, it's getting so nice out that I will only have probably a few days left where I can wear it this year. Before it has to be put away for the fall, which is fine, but I would love to be able to wear it a little bit before I have to put it away. So sleeves on the Yorkville is goal number 1. Goal number 2 is to finish the socks that I have on the needles. I love having socks on the needles. I almost always have a pair. This pair has been on for a while, and I just didn't touch it this week because I was so focused on getting the Yorkville finished. So my London Bridge socks, also by Mina of the Knitting Expat. I didn't show them this week, but I did last week. So if you are interested in what I'm talking about, you can go back and watch last week's episode. Those, I'm past the heel on those. I just need the rest of the foot and the toe. So I'm hoping that those will get off my needles as well this week, and possibly another pair cast on, just because I like to continuously have pairs of socks on the needles. The third goal is to wind my yarn for the City Limits sweater. I showed that yarn last week. It's a fade that I'm going to do. It's a worsted weight. You hold 2 fingering weights together and fade them into each other. It is a pattern by Tanis Lavelli. I'm sure I'm saying that completely wrong. And of Tanis Fiber Arts. I don't need to have that cast on, but I would like to get the yarn wound up for that so that it's ready to go. That will be my next sweater cast on after the Yorkville is finished. And the fourth goal for the week is to work on one of these 3 projects that I showed you, and put some decent knitting time into one of those projects. It doesn't matter which one. I just would like to see them moving forward a little bit so that I feel like I'm accomplishing something and getting something off the needles. So those are my 4 goals for the week, and I think that about wraps it up. This week has been I've been staying home. I only left the house to go to the grocery store. I'm working from home. It's been a very busy work week, so I didn't have a ton of time to knit. Sometimes when I'm busy during the day, my knitting takes a back seat in the evening. But other than that, it's been great. I have been doing my Omaha Knit Night meetups, which I didn't mention this at the beginning, but I do run the local Omaha, Nebraska, one of our knitting groups, crafting fiber groups, excuse me. So it's Omaha Knit Night. You can find us on Instagram at Omaha Knit Night, or over on Facebook. Omaha Knit Night is the group. So we meet twice a week, virtual meetups for now. If anybody's interested in joining, please feel free. And so I've been doing those. I have another one this afternoon, and that's been great. And they are so supportive and encouraging. And part of the reason I got my sweater as far as I did is because of their support and encouragement. So it's been great. And that's really a high point of the week, especially right now during these really unsettling times. So I hope you all are staying safe, staying home, washing your hands, and doing well. And we will see you all hopefully next week. Have a good week. Bye.